Everyone, and welcome to the Penn Social Science and Policy Forum Conference on Immigration and Metropolitan Revitalization. I'm expecting that we'll have a differently composed audience over the course of the day. We're sold out nominally, so it means that we're expecting people to be coming and going over the course of the day. I'm Tom Sugrue, and I'm the director of the Penn Social Science and Policy Forum, and I'm really delighted to welcome you to the culminating event of this year's Penn Social Science and Policy Forum theme year on immigration and citizenship. The Social Science and Policy Forum is a university-wide initiative under the aegis of the provost to bring together faculty, students, policymakers, and the public around major themes that bring together policymaking and scholarship. Last year's theme was the global economic crisis. This year, immigration and citizenship. Next year, poverty and opportunity. We've had, over the last 2 years, an extraordinary series of workshops, public events, conferences, panels, and bringing folks, among them economist Thomas Piketty, who's now, of course, become a household name, former FDIC Chair Sheila Bair, and former head of the Office of Management and Budget in the Obama administration, Peter Orszag, Nobel Prize-winning economist Thomas Sargent, and this year, Migration Policy Institute President Demetrios Papadimitriou, major scholar of refugees in the United States, Maria Cristina Garcia, political scientist Michael Jones Correa, among many others. It's been a really, really exciting couple of years. The purpose of the Social Science and Policy Forum is to bring together cutting-edge, policy-relevant social science scholarship, and to do so by bringing people together across traditional disciplinary boundaries. We have really a vision of not just interdisciplinarity, but really integrating knowledge by bringing people together with different disciplines, different methods, different research topics, but who can talk to each other across disciplinary boundaries, and who can also speak more widely to a public that goes well beyond the walls of the university. So it's in that spirit that I welcome you to kick off today's conference on immigration and metropolitan revitalization. Today you will hear from sociologists, historians, geographers, demographers, city planners, education scholars, and economists, all grappling with some central questions. How large-scale immigration has transformed the spaces where we live and work. How immigration has remade big cities, suburbs, and once decaying industrial towns. How the geography of the United States has been reshaped as part of a transnational process of capital and human mobility, bringing people from places as diverse as China, Liberia, and Mexico, all of which we're going to be hearing about today. And the implications of these processes. What are those implications for city planners? What do they mean for housing policy? How do they impact public transit? What implications does the immigrant-fueled transformation of large swaths of the United States have for our debates about border control, citizenship, social welfare, and labor policy? What implications does immigration have for urban planning and public education? It's clear that we live in a country, and it goes without saying, especially in front of this audience, we live in a country that's been indelibly transformed by immigration in places that we'll be hearing about today, as diverse as MacArthur Park in Los Angeles, Paterson, New Jersey, Boston, Brooklyn, Bridgeport, Nashville, Dallas, West Philadelphia, and West Rogers Park in Chicago. Immigration has revitalized urban neighborhoods once left for dead. It's remade suburban communities in ways that William Levitt and Ward Cleaver could not have possibly imagined, and that they would probably recoil from. It has remade metropolitan economics, labor, and housing markets in ways that were unthinkable in that era of the urban crisis only a few decades ago. As we move forward today, and we're going to be grappling with a whole series of, I think, really important questions from a number of different vantage points. Questions of place, of scale, and of diversity. Among the questions, this is meant to be an opening, not a foreclosure of possible things to talk about today. How does immigration change or broaden our understandings of what urban revitalization is? Conventional measures of revitalization focus on such phenomena as high visibility downtown redevelopment projects, or gentrification with hipsters and artists figuring prominently, or the growing attraction of urban life for singles, or reinvestment by community development corporations or private developers on a large or small scale. But what does revitalization look like? How do we conceptualize it when the agents of transformation are often working class people coming from different parts of the world? On a more macro level, how does immigration contribute to our economic frameworks for thinking about urban and metropolitan transformation, particularly demographic and economic growth? It is to those issues that we turn this morning and this afternoon in what I expect is going to be an immensely interesting and high-powered and stimulating day. Before we begin, though, I have to thank two people who've been really centrally involved, in addition, of course, to the Provost, Vince Price, and the Dean of the School of Arts and Sciences, Stephen Fluharty, who are responsible for overseeing and funding the Social Science and Policy Forum. But particularly, I want to thank the Social Science and Policy Forum Administrator, Dr. Matt Roth, who's in the back. Matt is immensely talented and someone who has both the big picture and the small details in the way that many of the best scholars do, and who's responsible really for coordinating this entire event today. So Matt has really been indispensable. I also want to thank Dominic Vitiello, just tenured in the city planning department here in the School of Design. And Dominic has worked very closely with me over the last semester, especially in assembling the program and thinking about links between the various papers that you'll be hearing and different projects you'll be learning about today. And Dominic will also be involved with me in editing the volume that will come out of this conference as co-editor, so he's been really indispensable. Finally, Matt will, at some point over the day, if he hasn't already found you, will be giving you various pieces of paperwork. That is, those of you who are the panelists for this conference, that you'll need to fill out and get to him in due course. And so, with that, once again, welcome. We're really excited about the events of the day, and with no further ado, I am going to turn the floor over for our first panel, which is on revitalizing small cities and suburbs. And I'm going to turn the floor over to Lorenzo Sanguino, who is the Penn Social Science, one of the two Penn Social Science and Policy Forum postdoctoral fellows on immigration and citizenship this year. Lorenzo is a PhD from the University of Chicago. He's working on Mexican immigration to the United States, and specifically the origins of Mexican immigration, in a really rich project that includes research in both the United States and in Mexico, interviews as well as working government documents, and an attention to all the different facets of immigration, from economic to political to everyday. So he'll be introducing the first panel on revitalizing small cities and suburbs. That's it.